Okay, right. Hello everybody, welcome to Limeworks TV here at Harbour Cars. It's always a real treat to visit Harbour Cars, such as the quality of stock, but some days are just better than others. Today is definitely one of them. Behind me I've got two exquisite Porsches from the 987 generation. Note the Cayman R, which unfortunately for me, and you as well, is sold. However, beside it, and the subject of today's video, is the Boxster Spyder, which really is its open-topped equivalent of this brilliant Cayman R. Okay then, the 987 Spyder, the Boxster Spyder, to coin its official title, as it says on the back of the car. Look, I think this car is significant for two reasons. The first being this started the modern day Porsche Spyder dynasty, really. We're now 3 generations in, 987, 981 and 718, spawned a whole new level of appreciation for open-top Porsche motoring. There's even a dedicated community. Honourable mention at this point to Craig and our friends in the Craig Spyder Club. It all starts with this car, but its significance of being launched in Los Angeles shouldn't be lost on enthusiasts, particularly Porsche historians among you. This Boxster Spyder, I think we can trace its roots right the way back to the mid-50s and one Max Hoffman. It was he who was central actually in making Porsche sports cars a success in the United States. This was during the time of the hand-built 356s, of course, which were all coupes and cabriolets to begin with. And it was Max Hoffman, the New York-based importer of European sports cars, that said to the Porsche family, look, if you want to crack this market, you need to bring to market a lightweight, back-to-basics, open-top Porsche sports car. The 356 Speedster was born. Porsche's reputation and indeed sales took off from there. And in the 60, 70 years since, the United States has been one of Porsche's most significant and important markets. 60 years later, Max Hoffman's ethos was brought right back into the fore, adhering to the same concept and philosophy, lightweight, back to basics, and an open-top sports car, has given us the Boxster Spyder. So as I said, this car was revealed in 2009 at the LA Auto Show. The Boxster Spyder first hit production in February 2010. It means that this car, as of last month, is now 15 years old. It was the third Boxster of the 987.2. Now the Boxster and Boxster S as open-top two-seater cars, you know, they're lightweight Porsche sports cars anyway by modern standards, but the Boxster Spyder managed to shave an incredible 80 kilos off the Boxster S. Now to put that into context, that sort of significant weight-saving number is usually only reserved for like GT2 shaving off turbo. It really is a monumental figure. So much so that the Boxster Spyder was the lightest Porsche sports car of the time. And what's interesting is Porsche in its press release said of the original Boxster Spyder, it is the purest form of the Porsche sports car. Light, powerful, consistently open and efficient. Those two words, consistently open, are important because there are many instances of weight saving all over this car, but central to that was the roof. Roof actually is the wrong word because in Porsche's literature at the time, they called the canvas top that sat over the cockpit a cover. Manually operable, it was by no means watertight. Owners at the time were made very aware of that. Some even had to sign disclaimers, allegedly. The cover was only guaranteed to stay in position at speeds up to 125 miles an hour. Top speed of this is way in excess of it, which means for those wanting to do track days in the original Boxster Spyder, you had to do so with the roof off because quite simply the roof wouldn't stay on for the top speed of the car. So very clearly, as you can see, this is a car to be enjoyed predominantly with the roof off. The roof, by the way, weighs just 6 kilograms. The carbon fibre frame on its own weighs 5. Now, as I said, weight saving is all over this car. This rear clamshell saves 3 kilos over the Boxster S. Bucket seats available as standard save 12 kilos. Lightweight wheels weigh 10 kilos each. Now, there's some lovely details on this like rear half of the car, centering on the one-piece clamshell. The Speedster S bulges behind the front seats as part of the clamshell's profile. It gives this Boxster Spyder what Porsche described at the time as a stretched and sleek silhouette reminiscent of the Carrera GT. All of that combined gives the Boxster Spyder a din weight of 1,275 kilos, which, as I said, meant that this was the lightest new Porsche sports car of the time. Now, under this manually operated clamshell and indeed the storage space for that manual hood, is the engine. It's 3.4 litre in capacity, it's DFI, direct fuel injection, as per the rest of the 987.2 generation. It has though had a slight uptick in power, just like the Cayman R next to it, of 10 horsepower, so we're now putting out 320 horsepower at 7,200 RPM. That maximum power, by the way, is realised nearly 1,000 RPM higher than the Boxster S. Max torque, 370 Newton meters at 4,750 RPM. The Boxster Spyder has, as standard, a sport suspension, which drops the ride height by 20mm. The dampers, by the way, are fixed rather than active, again saving a bit of weight over the Boxster S. And the setup of the Spyder means the centre of gravity is 25mm lower than the Boxster S. That should play into the dynamics of the car, which we're going to find out on our test drive shortly. So as you can see, this clamshell, I mean, it's massive, isn't it? It's one piece, manually operated, saving weight, of course. The roof stowage space is here. The roof, by the way, is in two pieces. You've got the main part of the roof that lops right the way across the width of the car. Then in the middle, you've got the rear window, which you take off separately and put on separately as well. We're not going to bother with any of that today because, after all, Porsche said this is a car that should be enjoyed and is intended to be enjoyed with the roof off. Right then, okay, right, so before I even get in the car, these aluminium doors, concept taken from the 997 GT3 of the time, save 15 kilos each side over the 987 Boxster S, and even opening that is super lightweight. Like, that is air-cooled levels of lightweightness. Really interesting. So before we've even sat in the car, we're getting a good grasp of just how this car saves weight. RS door pull as well to add to the weight saving, and indeed the drama when you sit in the original Boxster Spyder. Before we drive off, these cars were very spec dependent. Right out of the box, in its most hardcore form, the car weighed 1,275 kilos, but the reality is very few left the factory as so, and the reason being, well, the weight saving and the spec therefore was pretty hardcore. In its lightest and most hardcore spec, there was no radio, there was no aircon, you had 6-speed manual, and you had the buckets. As I mentioned, now some things you couldn't spec back in, such as the pockets in the doors, or the cup holders, for example, or the cowling across the top of the instrument cluster. But there were some things that you could opt back in, and indeed many people did. For example, the radio. Most cars came with a radio. Majority of cars had the aircon opted back in. I personally would hunt out a car with air conditioning, particularly if you want to use it often. A lot of cars ditched the buckets and went with the electric sport seats from the generation, which are brilliant. I have them in my own car. And some, as here, swapped out the 6-speed manual for PDK. So that really is an example of just how much variance there is with the Boxster Spyder. And if you're interested in one of these, it's important therefore to find the right car for you, because depending on the spec of the car really will dictate how you're going to use it. How picky can you be? Well, not a great deal as it goes. There are around 2,000 of these produced for worldwide markets. Around 310 came to the UK as far as I can see, with the split of manual versus PDK being around about 55% to 45% in favour of stick shift. I've never driven a Boxster Spyder. I'm extremely excited to do so. This is a car that conceptually definitely tugs at the heartstrings for me. I'm really excited to take this one for a drive and see just what all the fuss is about. So I've had to put the low-slung windows up because, well, two reasons really. Number one is my barnet was blowing all over the place, but secondly, it's vaguely important you hear me, just on the off chance I might say something of note, and it's impossible with the windows down when we've got microphones in place. So that's the reason they're up. It will allow us though to build into the car the engine to get warmed up, that beautiful 3.4 litre direct fuel injection, which has been tweaked, as I said, to deliver 320 horsepower, so 10 horsepower up on the Boxster S. So it's on the sport suspension, shorter springs, firmer dampers, thicker anti-roll bars, as I mentioned. It rides nicely, and already some of those detailed changes reference the 80 kilo saving can be felt. I was in a Taycan yesterday, Spyder today, very, very different. You can feel how lightweight this car is, not just in the way it shifts, but in the way it goes through corners as well, and the way it steers even. This thing feels feather light, and actually I'm going to coin the sentiments of my podcast co-host Max, who recently drove the 987 and the 718 back to back, the first and the last Spyder, and he said while the 718 is a masterclass in adding intensity, the 987 was a masterclass in adding lightness. And I think, to be honest, he's absolutely bob on. This feels lightweight. Beautiful. So, you know, again, on paper, it's only 10 horsepower more than the Boxster S, but it's not just an increase of 10 horsepower, really. It's also a slight change to the character. I mean, you know, that maximum horsepower is achieved an extra 1,000 horsepower further up. The whole premise of it means that it's there to be revved out more. And that's the thing, you know, the Boxster S is a more well-rounded car, and to be honest with you, for some people and some lifestyles, a Boxster S may well be the answer, because it's a great little sports car out of the box. But this is definitely more chiselled and refined for the purpose of purist sports car driving. And there are caveats to that. Is it a car to drive around in all year? No, to be honest, because again, reference the roof is the big player, and other people have mentioned it in videos as well. You know, you need somewhere to stick this car because the roof is a cover, it's not watertight. It does mean when you see one of these cars on the road, you know that with the owner, not only do they have exquisite taste in sports cars, it also means they more than likely have a garage at home as well, because you need a garage to stick this car when you're not driving it. There's absolutely no question of that. That honestly pulls so damn well in line with the overall balance of the car. It really is an exquisite little thing. And the PDK is a great ally to it. 7-speed, quick gear changes, intuitive enough when you leave it in automatic. I prefer, just in line with the overall thesis of this car, to put it in manual and play with the gears myself. I would though love to try the 6-speed manual. I think that would go so well with this car and the concept of it. It's a fantastic case study in the joy of pure back to basics sports car driving. The very essence of it, with Stuttgart's prancing horse on the front. The newer Spyders, again in my own humble opinion, are just slightly more animalistic. Where this car wins, and this is in difference even to Spyders that followed, it's just the delicacy of its controls. The throttle response, the steering in particular, just the way this car will flow through corners. It's, yeah, balance and delicacy. Its sensation isn't necessarily pace, but rather flow, and that all builds in again and is centered on just how damn light this car feels. Small adjustments the car reacts to, and again, I mean, it'll just stick to the road pretty faithfully with little fuss. Okay, I like that. I like the fact that you can manually change gears with a PDK unit by pressing forwards to change up and backwards to change down. It's much more intuitive actually than these admittedly clunky levers, although in the sport wheel you get paddles. Yeah, that's absolutely my jam. I haven't even put it in sport yet, so let's do that. What I will say is, this car, and I say it for all of these cars of this generation, the early DFI engine motors, so the 987 and 997.2s, the engines are quite quiet. This car in particular would benefit handsomely from an aftermarket exhaust system to really just unlock the bark of that flat six. There's so much to love about the Boxster Spyder, the original Boxster Spyder. I adore the way it looks, I love the way it drives. It's pretty unapologetic in being built for a purist sports car driving and a real back to basics approach to that as well. So if that is your jam, you absolutely need to try this car. If you're looking for more power, more noise, something a bit more leery, try its successor. If you just want something that's delicate and precise, I think this is a great place to be. A modern masterclass of Porsche purity through its lightweight and back-to-basics approach, Max Hoffmann's prophecy for sports car success is still evident today in the Type 987 Boxster Spyder.